everybody. Okay, this is so funny, right? I'm gonna turn it off though. How do I make it stop? There we go. Welcome to another Bedtime Book Club. Tonight I'm talking about Captivate, the book by Vanessa Van Edwards. And here, let me pull the cover up so you can see what it looks like. La la la. Let's see if I can get that. There we go. So, I loved this book. And if you've read it, I want to hear what you thought of it because I think it's just overall really good for anyone who has any kind of, well, if you want to have better relationships, period, in general. I'd say especially for anyone who's shy, awkward, maybe an introvert, it will definitely help explain some of what's going on and maybe give you some tips and tricks to get out and socialize more because I know it's kind of an epidemic. We all are missing as much connection as maybe we'd like. So I thought I would share with you a couple of my favorite things about the book. And I encourage you, if you haven't read it, go get it and read it right away and let it help you to start, changing how you interact with people because especially in business, people can be so awkward. If you've got something really great you want to share, you might be kind of awkward about it, where when you can come from maybe a more natural space and with some tips on how to read people so you can tell if they're into you or if they're just humoring you or, anywhere in between. I think this will really help you. So I've got a few notes here. One of the best things for me was she talks about working basically towards your strengths. So there's a little quiz to help you figure out what kind of scenarios you thrive in, what ones you are kind of neutral in, and what ones are like survival mode for you when you're networking, socializing, meeting people, anywhere that you have to be around people. My little quiz opened my eyes and it gave me some insight into how I can actually go out and make friends more comfortably, how I can actually go network with people more comfortably rather than subjecting myself maybe to situations that put me more in survival mode and will make me more awkward, if that makes sense. So for that alone, the book was worth it. So if you have any questions while I'm talking, throw them out here in the chat. I'm happy to answer them. After the video is over, throw things in the comments. I will come back and definitely answer your questions. So let's see, next, she talks about mingling. So if you are going to an event, whether it be a party, a wedding reception, a networking event, whatever, the best places to kind of hang out and talk to people, meet new people, and have fun versus where you can stand and be a real party pooper. So that was super fun to read about. She even draws a map so that there's no worries about trying to figure out exactly where things are. So that was a good part. She gives some little tips and tricks all throughout the book, which are super fun and helpful. Things that you think you might know already but need reminded. Things that maybe you never even thought of that are just so super simple and helpful. One of them was like to hold your drink with a napkin so you don't end up with clammy, sweaty drink hand. Hello, how easy is that? And yet so many people don't do that, right? Like how many times has someone shuffled their drink to shake your hand and you're like, ugh. So you don't have to be that person. Next thing, she talks a couple, quick and easy ways that you can actually establish trust. And I think the best part is she talks about the science behind it, like how they looked at different people, who they looked at, how they kind of researched this stuff. And it really makes it solid, right? Like then you can go, okay, this isn't just like la la la, common sense says, right? Like a lot of people kind of put that out there, or someone's opinion. Like this is actually based on scientific evidence. So she talks about showing your hands and making eye contact and how to do that in natural ways and not being like one of these people who you see them all the time who'll like stare you in the face and it starts to freak you out, or never make eye contact and that freaks you out, right? Or sometimes you might see someone who like gestures wildly with their hands all the time and they're talking and you're like, are you gonna fly away? Are you gonna hit me? So check that part out in the book, definitely, so that you can kind of start to, just become aware, first off, of how you do things, but also so you can start to kind of hone in on those things where if you feel like you might be freaking people out, or you feel like people get bored because maybe you're one of those people who just isn't very expressive, you might start to find ways to work on that. Let's see. How to deal with nut jobs was one of the sections in the book. You'll just have to read that one and see for yourself. She talks about getting to know people and also certain things to watch for, right? Like their personality, their primary values, introversion, extroversion. There's this thing called OCEAN, ocean, that she talks about, that there are kind of 5 personality traits that once you get to know those people, it makes it not only easier to interact with them in a way that they'll actually appreciate and receive positively, but once you get to know your own, that can also help you. So, in fact, knowing yourself is probably half the battle in any situation, right? To know how you're going to react to things and what you need to mitigate to achieve your goals. Because sometimes we just have goals that we're out there to get, and something's holding us back and we don't really know what it is. So this can give you an insight to that as well. And one tip that I just loved, and if you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw it in my stories. It was about asking. And so this is like the tidbit I highlighted for myself, and I'm definitely practicing. And she says, if you're asking for something, give a reason why, that you become that much more successful. And she gives an example in the book, and so I will have probably several examples of how this kind of works. And then the one that I really highlighted, though, was about getting a better seat on the airplane, because it just cracked me up. Because I don't know how many times, I'll tell you, I'm really tall. I have very, very long legs for my height. So, I'm the girl that has to buy the extra tall jeans. So when I get on an airplane, I am almost always going to be uncomfortable, even if I get an aisle seat and I can stick my legs out once in a while. I mean, there's always so much traffic, you really can't. So that's why it kind of made me laugh, and I totally stuck it away. Because it just totally touched my heart. It was like, when you get on, ask if there's any aisle seats available, because I get up a lot and I don't want to disturb other passengers. Like, that was her example. And I'm like, oh, so brilliant. I am never going to get stuck in a bad seat again. I shouldn't say that. They might not be available, but I could totally see doing that. Like, even on the row that you're in, if you're stuck in the middle, or like me, window seats are actually the scariest, because then I have 2 or more people to try to jump over. So I've got that on my list, like to be able to even just turn to a seatmate and say, can I have your aisle seat, because I like to get up quite a bit and stretch my legs, and maybe they'll be a little sympathetic to me, right? Maybe it won't be too bad. So there you go. There are my main tips for this, and I would love to hear, if you've read it, what you think about it. And if you haven't read it, go read it and tell me what you think about it. I would just love to talk about it more with people who have read it, because this stuff is so interesting to me. As you know, I'm a sociologist, and I majored in sociology in college, because I just love knowing how people tick and seeing these patterns. So if you're into it, talk to me. And follow me on Instagram if you're not already. That's my invitation to you. I've been really active over there. I'm totally digging Insta stories right now. I find it really fun to be able to kind of share more of my life behind the scenes, and they go away in 24 hours, so it's like a low commitment kind of thing. So I dig the low commitment kind of thing. So if you're interested in that, I'm on Instagram, same handle, @ColleenBeanCoaching, so you can find me easy. If Facebook hasn't already told you to go follow me, because I know Facebook often gives me suggestions of Insta people. And if you are on Facebook, though, I think my Insta stories still come up, so you can watch the stories on this page. If you're curious to see, you know, what I eat, what makeup I use, how I fix my hair, my kitty pictures. I do have she's a grumpy old cat, but she's adorable to me. So once in a while, I post pictures of her murder paws and when she likes to sleep on her back. So it's hilarious to me anyway. So if you're a cat person, I'll show you those. And that's pretty much all I have for you tonight. I didn't see any questions. Saw a couple people pop on, so I hope this was maybe entertaining and fun for you. And like I said, come hang out with me. Please come over to my website, colleen-bean.com. If you come over to my website, you can sign up for a free strategy session, which is an awesome way if you have any kind of goal you're kind of working towards right now. I can help you out. It's free, no obligation. I know a lot of times you don't want to sign up for something free because then you're getting spammed and things like that. I don't spam, I'll be honest with you. I barely ever send out a newsletter even. So if you do sign up for it and you want to actually work with me, that's the way to get to it. Or if you actually want more coaching from me for free, that's the way to get it, because that's how I go, I guess. I'm all about low commitment right now. This is my spring theme. Low commitment, high reward. So, taking off. Have a great night. Sweet dreams. Love you. Bye. Mwah.